Oh, hello. As you probably know, the only reason I'm not a ninja is because when I was a kid, in the comics I used to read, there were always adverts that said, learn the secrets of how to be a ninja for $1. And being English, I didn't have any dollars. It's a kind of Trini Lopez situation. As I'm sure you remember, Trini Lopez once recorded a song called If I Had a Hammer. And if I remember rightly, the basic gist of the song was that if he had a hammer, he could solve all the world's problems. Well, he couldn't even solve the problem of not having a hammer. So how is he going to solve all the world's problems if he can't even solve that problem? I can't help feeling that he was somewhat overrating his problem-solving abilities. Also, you have to say, if you had a hammer, you wouldn't need to be a ninja, because you could just hit people with a hammer. That's why it's a total waste of time dedicating your life to learning the martial arts. Still, that didn't stop me from in my childhood reading the adventures of my favourite martial artists. Obviously Marvel Comics, they had Shang-Chi and they had Iron Fist. But Charlton Comics had Yang. Yang was a master of the martial arts who lived in America in the old Wild West and beat up cowboys. So he bore no resemblance whatsoever to that other bloke whose name I've totally forgotten. It wasn't Michael Caine, it was David Carradine as Kwai-Chan Caine, not Michael Caine. Michael Caine would have been better. It would have been, my name is Kwai-Chan Caine. I am not a bloody grasshopper. Oh, you, put down those bloody nunchucks. I am not walking on no bloody rice paper. As you can tell, I am the voice of them all. Sean Connery. Orsh. Now, it is a fact that you can get through any James Bond movie just by saying Orsh at every opportunity. So it's like, now listen here, Bond. There's an evil megalomaniac trying to take over the world and you have to stop him. Wash. Oh, Mr. Bond, do you truly believe you can stop my deadly scheme? Wash. Ach, Mr. Bond, my deadly laser beam will soon shoot off your genitals. Wash. You see, you don't need to be able to act to make it in Hollywood, you just need a catchphrase. Sadly, Yang didn't have a catchphrase, but he did have Feet of Death, which almost makes up for it. I think the episode of the $6 Million Man that everyone remembers best is the one when the Bionic Man fought Bigfoot and tore his arms off, which I do hope is illegal in America. It is illegal in Britain. Obviously we don't have Bigfoot in Britain, but we do have the Loch Ness Monster, and it is illegal to tear the Loch Ness Monster's arms off. It's actually a law that was passed in 1976. I don't know if you can tear the Loch Ness Monster's legs off, but you can't tear its arms off. So, because of the Bigfoot thing, I've decided the issue of Yang that I'm going to review is the one where Yang goes all Steve Austin about everything and fights Bigfoot. Osh. Right, so Yang's minding his own business talking to himself when his girlfriend shows up and tries to kill him. Now you might think this is a sign of a dysfunctional relationship, and it is, because not only is Yin Li his girlfriend, she's also the daughter of his sworn enemy Chao Ku, who's some sort of slave trader. Unfortunately, Yin Li can't shoot a hero because she's a soppy girl straight out of the Stan Lee School of Female Characterization, and so Yang escapes, literally going ha 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 at her soppiness. Now I don't like to give advice, but I think it's generally a good rule in life not to mock your girlfriend for not wanting to kill you. Meanwhile, Chao Ku has a plan. He's teamed up with Bigfoot. Admittedly, when I say teamed up with, I mean captured. Presumably this is all inspired by that old story about residents of a 19th century American town having once captured a juvenile Bigfoot which then escaped before they could do anything to prove they'd ever had it. Happily, Chao Ku's a lot better at holding onto his anthropoids than they were, and he knows in exactly which direction to point his Bigfoot. It's at this point that Yin Li, or even Yin Li, concocts an absolutely brilliant plan. She'll have her dad beat her up and then she'll throw herself off a cliff. I do have to say that, as brilliant plans go, this lacks a certain brilliance. Anyway, having seen her fall, Yang rushes to her aid, but Chao Ku's let Bigfoot loose in the area. Bigfoot attacks Yang. Chao Ku orders his henchmen to shoot Bigfoot. Yin Li starts helping Yang. Bigfoot starts menacing Yin Li. I can't help feeling this isn't the best thought out scheme ever. To be honest, it looks suspiciously like total chaos. It's like watching England trying to play against Spain in any international football tournament in human history. And this is where it gets weird, because it's at this point that Yang decides to take a nap. I mean literally, he actually decides to take a nap 3 feet away from a murderous Bigfoot, while also being surrounded by enemies who are armed to the teeth with guns. So what happens then is that Yin Li, Chowku's lackeys and Bigfoot all then hang around doing nothing, waiting for Yang to wake up so they can all continue their feud. And the implication seems to be that they're waiting around for hours for him to do it. I mean, you've got to hand it to them, they're patient if nothing else. Fortunately for the comic, Yang finally condescends to wake up, remembers he's supposed to be halfway through a life-or-death struggle, and gets back on with his job of fighting Bigfoot. Well, bored with being hit in the head by Yang and randomly shot at by others, Bigfoot decides to go to the source of his woes and attacks Chowku and his henchmen. At which point Yang and Bigfoot team up like the greatest combination since Marmite and Mustard. So, his henchmen slaughtered, Chowku flees on his horse. Although we only know this because we're told he has, and Yang and Yin Li do some first aid on Bigfoot before returning him to the Bigfoot sanctuary. They then dump the martial arts and get on with the marital arts, and everyone's happy except the bad guys. The thing that strikes you about Yang when you read his comics, not so much this one but other ones, is he's not like other martial artists, because other martial artists, it's very difficult to get them to fight. Kwai Chang Caine will be sat in a saloon. I don't mean a saloon car. He doesn't drive a saloon car. I don't know what kind of car he drives. He'll be sat in a saloon bar and some awful ornery cowboy will walk in and go, "We don't like your sort in this town, matey." That's not really an American accent, is it? But imagine it is. He's going, "We don't like your sort in this town, matey. You awful Chinese people, even though you're clearly totally Anglo-Saxon. We don't like your sort." And Kwai Chang Caine will just sit there in like silence, ignoring them, because Master Po told him to. He did all that stuff about do not despise the snake for having no horns, for who is to say the snake will not one day grow up to be a dragon. So he's got this kind of inner calm and peace. And Shang-Chi has that too. It's really difficult to get him to fight. Iron Fist has it to a lesser degree. Yang doesn't care. He'll just punch you in the face as soon as look at you, which is what you want. It's like Enter the Dragon. It's the only martial arts film I've ever seen. And I want Bruce Lee fighting from the start of it to the finish. It's like, I don't want him on a boat, travelling very slowly from one place to another, so he can take part in the contest. I want him fighting. The moment he gets on that boat, I want him fighting. From the start of the film, I want him fighting. To the end, I want him fighting. I just want fighting, fighting, fighting all the way through. I've paid 2 shillings and 6 for a ticket for that film, and I want my 2 shillings and 6pence worth of fighting. So Kwai Chang Caine's like, "You're a big man, but you're out of shape. Have you ever considered making your nuclear power plant bee-proof?" And Bigfoot's like, "Well, I don't need to make it bee-proof. It's got safety standards. It's got a certificate. I mean, granted, it's a swimming certificate, but as long as you've got a certificate in life, that's all you need." Anyway, this power plant was built by the people who built May Parker's power plant. So as long as no one headbutts it, it'll be fine. And Kwai Chang Caine's like, "Well, in that case, you have just doomed the whole of the bloody United States of America, because these are special South African head-butting bees, you great big dowsy pillock." And Bigfoot's like, "Well, I don't care. And to be honest, I've lost the will to live. People keep tearing my arms off. And last time, I was sitting in hospital so long having them stuck back on again, I missed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I know there's lots of people who would say, well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is rubbish. It's just bland generic rubbish full of people who try to solve every problem by getting a bigger gun than the last one. But, when you're Bigfoot, that's like catnip, that is.